Hello, my name is Dara Brown. Welcome to my TSM podcast presentation on the novel Private Peaceful by Michael Morpurgo. Morpurgo was born during World War II and often writes of the divisions, conflicts and injustices of warfare. The following podcast will deal with why and how Private Peaceful can be taught in the classroom. Let's now look at the learning outcomes of this podcast. At the end of this podcast, you, the audience, will be able to identify the importance of the role of a novel in the teaching of the English language. Develop an appreciation of the themes evident in the novel that feed into the hidden curriculum. List examples of the active and creative teaching methodologies which may be used in the teaching of the novel. Discuss the use of key skills in cross-curricular teams with reference to the novel. Having identified the learning outcomes, let's now look at the rationale behind the study of a novel in the English Junior Cycle. The curriculum states that English and Junior Cycle aims to develop students' knowledge of language and literature, to consolidate and deepen their literacy skills, and to develop an informed appreciation of literature through personal encounters with a variety of literary texts. The Junior Cycle English text list states that these skills are for the most part unconstrained skills that need to be frequently revisited and reinforced. The study guidelines for first year English include a studied novel with ongoing sustained reading of novels throughout the year. It is my opinion that Private Peaceful is an ideal novel to study for first year students, as the characters are relatable to the reader and the importance of honesty and friendship is dealt with throughout the novel. This is a novel which, through its characters, plot and themes, encourages and enables students to engage personally with and think critically about in order to formulate their own opinions. Having identified the rationale for studying this novel, I will now provide a short overview of the text. Each chapter of Private Peaceful announces the present time and begins with a snippet of Tomo Peaceful's current thoughts, and then proceeds with him remembering events from his past. The novel is enriched by the many themes which are evident throughout: love, friendship, loyalty and war, to name but a few. These are themes which students can relate to and engage with. Their father's untimely death strengthens the bond between Tomo and his older brother Charlie. There's a strong sense of friendship, love and loyalty between the brothers. However, this is tested by their shared love for Molly. Tomo feels a sense of betrayal when Charlie admits that he's been secretly meeting with Molly. This alienates Tomo, but his unrelenting loyalty and love for his brother is evident when Charlie is forced to enlist in the army and Tomo chooses to join him on the front line. The theme of war is evident here. Charlie and Tomo must deal with the terror of trench warfare and the deaths of many comrades, a stark reality of war times. The key event in the novel comes during the brothers' time in the trench, when Tomo is wounded and Charlie disobeys a direct order to charge from Sergeant Hanley. Charlie's love and loyalty to his brother results in him being accused of cowardice and given a court-martial and subsequently sentenced to death by firing squad. It is only at this point that the readers learn that the minutes at the beginning of each chapter have been counting down to Charlie's execution. The novel concludes with Charlie's execution and Tomo marching towards the Somme, determined to survive and return home. Differentiation may be incorporated in the novel by pre-teaching new vocabulary and the creation of a word wall. This novel also contains some slang terms the British soldiers used at the time, whose meaning may be investigated as a task for gifted and talented students. I believe that the evidence of teams' relationships and the adversity faced by Tomo and Charlie during this novel make it an excellent novel to introduce to the classroom and one which students will enjoy exploring. Having provided a short overview of the novel, I will now deal with a small number of the many teaching methodologies which Private Peaceful can provide in the classroom. It is vital at the outset of each lesson to hook students' attention. I feel that this could be achieved through the use of ICT and the playing of different sounds. The sound of the skylark bird may be played. This is a sound which is mentioned throughout the novel by Tomo, and one which can be related to the isolation which Tomo is feeling as he counts down to Charlie's execution. The second sound which I will play will be that of the song Oranges and Lemons, which Charlie hums before he is executed. This sound may help students place themselves in the mindset of Charlie at this terrible time. This methodology will provide the opportunity to students to engage with the novel through the use of ICT and use their creative skills to link the sounds with the events of the novel. The second methodology which I would like to utilise will be to show students the film adaptation of the novel. I feel that this would be extremely effective in allowing students to comprehend the events of the novel, with a particular emphasis on the role of Tomo. I would then ask students in pairs to use their knowledge acquired from the novel and the film to create a timeline of Tomo's life. This should include the most important events which Tomo was involved with in the novel. Such a timeline can be created on an A3 and displayed in the classroom. It may be beneficial for some groups to do the same on Charlie and other characters mentioned in the novel. The two methodologies mentioned above are only a small example of the many methodologies that this novel presents in order to motivate and engage students. In recent times there has been an increased importance placed on the development of key skills among students. So what key skills can be embedded into the teaching of Private Peaceful? The key skill of communicating is vital to develop in the English classroom, as it is a place of talk and discussion. The element of this key skill which I would address would be discussing and debating. Such an opportunity for a class debate based upon this novel could be sparked by the statement court-martials are vital during wartime to keep everyone focused on their tasks. This can be related to the event in the novel when Tomo gets wounded and Charlie disobeys a direct order and is given a court-martial. The second key skill which this novel encourages is that of working with others, and in particular the element cooperating. Students should always be encouraged to collaborate with others in order to explore and discuss their views on the text and its context. An example of how this may be achieved is by instructing students to work together in order to write and illustrate a newspaper account of one of the events in the novel. Students may choose, for example, the search for Big Joe or Charlie's court-martial. Students with their peers must choose an appropriate headline and identify key points relating to the chosen event. Active teaching methods can encourage students to engage with their study of the novel. However, where possible, cross-curricular links should also be made. Private Peaceful offers a number of opportunities to link itself with other subjects. As the novel is based around World War I, the obvious links to history are evident throughout. Students can develop their knowledge regarding the issues surrounding World War I. Another history angle which I'd be interested in exploring would be the fact that Tomo's vigil for Charlie takes place in 1916. This provides an opportunity for students to draw parallels between the war and events in Ireland at the time, the Easter Rising, and also Irish involvement in World War I. Cross-curricular links with geography are also evident. There is a strong link to the countryside and geographical features such as hills and rivers throughout. Tomo, Charlie and their fellow soldiers during the wartime had to utilise their map reading skills in order to survive. This may be built upon in the classroom, as students can be encouraged to develop their map skills by locating place names mentioned in the novel, such as Salisbury Plain, Ypres and the Somme. The potential cross-curricular link with SPHE is also evident, in particular with the subtopic Growing and Changing. This may be achieved by looking at the following: how Tomo grows and changes in the novel, what influence Charlie plays in Tomo's life, and finally how characters' perceptions of each other change during the novel, and asking students to draw comparisons with their own personal experiences. Let's now revisit the learning outcomes which we outlined at the outset. Now, at the end of this podcast, you, the audience, are able to identify the importance of the role of a novel in the teaching of the English language, develop an appreciation of the themes evident in the novel that feed into the hidden curriculum, list examples of the teaching methodologies which may be used in the teaching of the novel, discuss the use of key skills and cross-curricular themes with reference to the novel. In conclusion, I thoroughly enjoyed reading this novel. I feel it is a novel which lends itself to endless teaching opportunities. It is an easy novel to read and accessible to students of all abilities. Thank you for your attention throughout this podcast.